Hankster here, and have some, of course, sad news in the world of horror movies today. Just yesterday it was announced that George A. Romero, best known for his directorial works in such movies as Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, and The Crazies, and his works on the original Creepshow and such, has passed away at age 77. He, of course, was suffering from the effects of lung cancer and all. Of course, as you know, he first came onto the scene around 1969 when in his first directorial debut of Night of the Living Dead, which, of course, was sort of open doors. Of course, up until that point, most times zombies portrayed in movies were more to the voodoo sense of they're kind of like mindless slaves to, you know, voodoo priests and stuff, or of course to hire up monsters. And of course with George Romero, he of course turned them into flesh eaters, and basically brought on to what is now popularly known as the zombie apocalypse. That the living dead would overrun the living and bring it into human civilization. And of course, numerous movies and have been explored this possibility, and of course even with such shows as The Walking Dead, of course carry on this tradition. Of course now it's probably go into season 7, The Walking Dead, and of course Fear the Walking Dead and all. But of course George, of course, is himself, of course, not just to do these movies to scare people, but he also wanted to make statements in these movies. The first one was sort of broke a lot of barriers, with the lead role going to a black guy, and pretty much how humans deal with each other during crisis and stuff, rather, not just because it was the Living Dead was taking over, but that kind of thing. Now, of course, when Dawn of the Dead came out, it was pretty much his view of humanity's, modern humanities at the time, and I guess it still can go on to today with commercialism and the acquisition of stuff. With of course, obviously with the movie taking place mostly in a shopping mall. Of course, back then that's when malls were just coming into the scene. So having everything you needed inside this big, pretty much a warehouse of stuff, and all. And of course, it backfired when you had intruding humans coming in there and wreck your situation and all. And of course, Day of the Dead, which is more of a look at how government handles things when it comes to crisis and stuff, and people resorting to guns and all. He pretty much always used a more political. And of course, even though that George Romero, of course, started the popular look at zombies as mindless, creatures that just went around eating people, he did explore the concepts of more zombies evolving, becoming more intelligent, coming back, regaining some parts of their humanity and some point. That got started with Day of the Dead with the character Bub. He could salute. He could. He was one of the first zombies to ever use a gun. And also, of course, that went on to in more recent years with Land of the Dead, where Big Daddy, the lead zombie in that epic movie, led his own little ragtag army to take on the humans, using more intelligent means of getting what they want, as opposed to just tearing down barriers. They just use tools and all that. So that, in a sense, and it's just a shame now that George Romero has passed away. He could have explored that more. I mean, maybe he could have had a movie with a zombie society that kind of mirrored living society or something. I don't know. Kind of switching more from what he was, is best known for to more of a iZombie type point of view and all. Now, of course, speaking of shows like iZombie, of course, in a sense, George Romero is also the sort of the uncle, at least, or at least the force that helped bring along another popular zombie series to life, which, of course, is the Return of the Living Dead series, the Brain Eaters. It's Joe Russo, who, of course, worked with Romero with the original Night of the Living Dead. When they decided to split off and do different movies, they did give each other permission to go and make their own zombie movies. Of course, obviously George Wood did his series of movies with the Dead, Day of the Dead, of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and all that kind of stuff. Joe, of course, went on to do stories which would lead up into the course Return of the Living Dead in 1985. And of course that series lasted into 5 movies from 1985 to 2004. And of course that was, of course, went on to, was, as I said, iZombie and everything, with more intelligent. So even, of course, obviously there was still some of that element of shooting them in the head and all that kind of stuff that was spawned by Romero and all. So those, he's going to be forever. Remember, he is the godfather or the father of what has become known as the zombie movie. Even though in some aspects, they're more of survivalist horror. They're mostly focusing on the living surviving such an onslaught, as opposed to the zombie point of view, in like Return of the Living Dead or iZombie and stuff. Even though George did explore such ideas in his later films. One little note here for all you George Romero fans: if you ever played the game or ever heard the game Chainsaw Lollipop Chainsaw, the high school where the lead character Juliet plays is called San Romero High. So that's in the course it was made in honor of George A. Romero. So if you ever take a notice, it's San Romero High. Is not in the dedication to Cesar Romero. They're not. By the way, Cesar Romero and George Romero were not related. They were and I believe both of their names are spelled differently. Their last names are spelled differently. Cesar Romero, of course, best known for his role as the TV Joker in the 1960s, but no, there's no relation there. So, but I just wanted to make mention of those little factoids there. That the game Lollipop Chainsaw, which of course is a zombie busting game with chainsaws and stuff. It's kind of like Evil Dead, but the setting is in a high school called San Romero High, which of course is dedicated to George A. Romero. And all that. Now, of course, the major question is, I keep wondering if there's fans hanging around where George's corpse is being held at. I wonder if they're all waiting to see if his body's going to reanimate. I know it's kind of tasteless when you bring it up, but hey, this guy directed zombie movies. What are you going to expect? But just want to give you that little bit of information, what I've known about George A. Romero. As I said, George A. Romero has passed away this past, just yesterday, Sunday, July 16th, 2017. He, of course, died at age 77 from complications of lung cancer. And he, of course, will be gravely missed in the world of horror movies and such and all. But and we will be getting back to our reviews and all soon. So of course, stay tuned here for more reviews and whatnot here on the Multiverse. See ya.